Hi everyone, welcome to the Business Pod. I am aware that our recent discussions have focused around company registration, its guidelines, mandates, and other essential information for those venturing into the UAE's investment market. However, having received a crucial mandate, I feel compelled to share it with all of you. We just received an update that the RAK International Corporate Center, or RAK ICC, or Ras Al Khaimah Offshore Authority, has announced that all RAK offshore or RAK ICC entities are now permitted to proceed with the registration for corporate tax. What is corporate tax? Corporate tax is a form of direct tax levied to the net income or profit of corporations and other entities from their business. Corporate tax is governed by the Federal Decree Law No. 60 of 2023, amending certain provisions of the Federal Decree Law No. 47 of 2022 on the taxation of corporations and businesses. Businesses will become subject to the UAE corporate tax from the beginning of their first financial year that starts on or after June 1, 2023. Last January 31, 2022, the tax landscapes of the region shifted yet again, with the United Arab Emirates and Ministry of Finance making the breakthrough announcement that a new federal corporate tax system will be implemented in the UAE. What are its objectives? By introducing the corporate tax, the UAE aims to strengthen the standing as a premier global center for business and investment. By allowing these entities to register for corporate tax, the UAE aims to reinforce the status as a prominent destination for global business activities and investment, advance its growth and transformation to attain its strategic goals. The decision to permit the UAE entities to register for corporate tax aligns with UAE's broader development and transformation goals. Reconfirm its dedication to upholding international standards for tax transparency and preventing detrimental tax practices. By allowing UAE entities to register for corporate tax, reflects the country's commitment to upholding international standards for tax transparency and combating harmful tax practices. What is the scope of corporate tax? Who will be taxed in the UAE? These are various legal entities operating in the UAE, such as limited liability companies, private shareholding companies, public joint stock companies, limited liability partnership, and other companies with legal personalities. Foreign companies that earn income within the UAE and are considered tax residents. Free zone companies in the UAE are generally exempted from corporate tax if they comply with the regulations set forth by the respective free zone authority. However, it's important to note that free zone companies engaged in trading activities with mainland companies will be subject to corporate taxation on the income derived from such transactions. Both UAE residents and non-residents may be subject to corporate tax in the UAE. This means, regardless of the residency status of the company's owners or shareholders, if the company meets the criteria for taxation as outlined by UAE tax laws, it will be required to fulfill its tax obligations. Exemptions from corporate tax. Below are the rules regarding exemptions from corporate tax. Charities and public benefits organizations are entities categorized to charities or public benefit. These organizations typically operate for the public good, such as providing aid, support, or services to communities or individuals in need. Investment funds, which pool together capital from multiple investors for the purpose of investing in various financial assets, are also exempted. Companies involved in oil and resource extraction activities are exempted from corporate tax. This exemption acknowledges the strategic importance of these industries to the UAE's economy and ensures that they can continue their operations without facing additional tax burdens. Wholly government or wholly owned companies are companies that are wholly owned by the government. This exemption reflects the government's ownership and control over entities and recognizes their role in implementing government policies and initiatives. There is a participation exemption from corporate tax for certain transactions involving subsidiary companies. This exemption applies when a company receives dividends from its subsidiary or sells shares of its subsidiary. Additionally, corporate tax will also not apply to salary and employment income, interest and other income from bank deposits or saving schemes, income from investments, real estate investments, and income from ownership of shares and securities. What is the corporate tax rate? As per the Ministry of Finance, the corporate tax rates are 0% for taxable income up to 375,000, 9% for taxable income above 375,000, and a different tax rate for large multinationals. In the UAE, businesses making less than 375,000 are exempted from taxation, whereas those earning more are subject to a 9% tax rate. Larger multinational corporations, based on their unique business circumstances, may face varied tax rates. Federal Tax Authority will be responsible for the administration, collection and enforcement of the corporate tax. FDA provides more references and guides about corporate tax and information on how to register and file returns on its website. What is the step for RAK ICC or RAK offshore entities to register for corporate tax? RAK ICC entities can now complete their corporate tax registration via the Emirate Tax Portal. This step is essential to maintain full compliance with the relevant tax laws for your clients' businesses. You may follow the below guidelines. Step 1. You need to log in to the Emirate Tax Portal via UAE Pass. Step 2. You need to complete the application by following letter A. The license issuing authority should be RAK International Corporate Center. Letter B. The license issue date should be the date of the incorporation. Letter C. The license expiry date should be the date of the renewal. Letter D. You need to upload the certificate of incorporation for the RAK ICC entity. Letter E. You need to select the most relevant activity for the RAK ICC entity. For example, if your activity is holding company, your industry must be financial and insurance activities. Your main group would be financial services activities, except insurance and pension funding. Your subgroup would be activities of holding companies. And your activity should be activities of holding companies. Letter F. You need to complete the owners and authorized signatory details. Letter G. You need to upload the passport copies. And letter H. You need to upload the power of attorney or articles of association of the RAK ICC company. Once you're done with step 1 and step 2, you need to go to step 3, which is review and declaration and submit the application. There are also additional directives established by the Federal Tax Authority regarding corporate taxation. What is the criteria that must be met to qualify for 0% tax rate in the UAE? Corporate tax rate for free zones in the UAE are contingent upon the nature of the business activity. Free zone persons may benefit from 0% corporate tax rate on income derived from transactions with entities outside the UAE or from UAE trade conducted within the same free zone. However, if free zone companies conduct business with mainland entities, they will be liable for corporate tax on the resulting revenues. What tax rate will apply to free zone person with the branch on the mainland in the UAE? Income generated by a free zone person from its mainland business operations will be subject to the standard corporate tax rate if it possesses a branch in the UAE mainland. Nevertheless, if the free zone person maintains distinct accounting records for its mainland and free zone business operations, it can persist in benefiting from 0% corporate tax rate on its free zone income. However, if absence of separate accounting records, the 9% tax rate will be applicable to both free zone and mainland income. What tax rate applies to free zone persons engaging in business with the mainland in the UAE but without a branch presence? Free zone persons lacking a mainland branch retain the ability to engage in transactions with mainland UAE companies. Should the income derived from these transactions be restricted to passive resources like royalties, dividends, and capital gains from ownership of shares in mainland companies, the free zone person can upload or uphold the 0% corporate tax rate. What is the registration timeline for juridical persons that are resident persons? A juridical person that is a resident person shall submit a tax registration application for corporate tax taking into consideration the date it was incorporated or otherwise established or recognized under the applicable legislation in the UAE. This includes a free zone person incorporated, established or otherwise registered in a free zone. This equally applies to offshore companies that are incorporated or otherwise established to recognize under the applicable legislation in the UAE. We understand the importance of this process and we encourage you to proceed with the registration to avoid penalties. For additional details, you may refer to the section on corporate tax public clarification found on page 3 on the below link. That's all for today, everyone. I hope the mandate I gave everyone gives a heads up, more so for the RAK offshore entities, and avoid the penalties of late corporate tax registration. Feel free to give us a comment, hit like and subscribe. Thanks, everyone. Bye.